It is the Riot Podcast. Hello.
Happy Thursday.
Hello.
We're getting close. Next week will be our RadioU fundraiser. During that time, you're still going to get a podcast each day. It'll just be shortened with some extra stuff in it. But if you want to check out ways to help RadioU, which helps our Riot podcast, please check out RadioU.com/donate.
Okay, Nikki, I have here on today's list, we get the final official word on the Xbox Series X.
So Xbox, the new console, all the details are out for the most part.
Yes.
We're just waiting on PlayStation.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe by the time you've heard this,
maybe
it'll
know. Be out.
That'd be great. Let's see. We talk about having some pre-show cake. Olaf, what's he up to? Amazon job fairs, backyard castles, sorority shutdowns, coffin parades, toys for the Hall of Fame, and World Suicide Prevention Day.
There's a lot of stuff in the show today.
There is. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you for always listening and hopefully liking it too, and just, texting us. It's super nice to hear from all of our podcast listeners. You can always text and say hello or send us a story if you want us to cover it, or if you just want us to say hey to you. You just text 877 to RadioU, put your name, and that you're a podcast listener. And even if we're not in, it'll be saved for us. So next time we're in, we can say hello back.
All right. Anything else?
Enjoy this wonderful day.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
The Riot. They're kind of a big deal.
Hey, can we do that again? Maybe a little more energy?
No. RadioU.
I may have made a huge mistake.
What was the huge mistake?
It's pretty early to make huge mistakes, but
but it's possible.
I had a piece of cake.
Oh, already?
Yes.
Oh.
It was not a big one.
But enough to just start the day?
Like I just cut just a little bit off because I was looking at it and I knew on my way in, it was like, if there's cake there, you're going to eat some.
Yeah, and you don't want to fight it all morning. You might just have a tiny bit and then maybe more later.
Felt like just have some.
Yeah.
Don't have a ton. Just like a little. So I just took a little bit off the side there.
We have cake from something yesterday.
And it's our favorite kind of cake.
And we haven't had it in a while.
A long time.
It's been a very long time, and it was really good. So I plan on having cake later.
Oh, yes. Oh, me too.
Did you take any home yesterday?
I did not.
I might even take a piece home today.
Okay. I actually was really intentional about not taking some home yesterday.
Well, we feel like then everybody had a chance yesterday. So now today,
so now it's free.
Fair
you can do
game.
It.
Anybody can take more than the customary one piece.
That seems reasonable
because there's some left, so we can have it.
Well, it was the little bit I had this morning. I was surprised by how good it was, and I was like, okay.
Well, okay.
Here we go.
If you guys could do us a favor, can you let us know how Obie sounds this hour? Should we always have a little tiny piece of cake?
No,
is it a better hour or is it worse?
What I think is check in, let's say about 45 minutes from now.
See how it goes? Okay, so next hour, see how that is.
See how we're doing then. Because, right now, it's a real boost. Yeah. I feel great.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But little cake never hurt anybody. It's a lot of cake when that hurts it.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay. Sure.
We've got an archive of everything stupid the Riot has ever said at your fingertips. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Maybe as the Riot, we've been over-reporting on the launch of video game consoles, but I'm not going to lie, I really care.
See, he said something you didn't think he was going to say. You thought he was going to say he didn't care.
No, I do. I really care. It comes out. I know it does.
Everybody's been waiting a really long time. They've just strung us along. We're getting close to when you'd be saving up the actual money for it. You just want to know the details.
This is my ESPN, okay? That's just...
And all the politics stuff rolled into one. This is it.
This is my thing. I love it. So yesterday, they finally came out and announced, basically the rest of the details for the new Xboxes. There are two of them. There's the Xbox Series S that will be $299. It does not have a disc drive. It's all digital.
Think S for simple.
Yes. And it's the smallest Xbox ever. They say that it will be $299. It will launch on November 10th.
Yeah.
Also on November 10th, you will get the Xbox Series X. That's their new big boy.
That's the extra special one.
Right. That one is going to be $499. So $500 basically. And it does come with a disc drive. It's also out November 10th. They also announced that launching right alongside it will be the new Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, okay. Well, you get something then.
Exactly.
That's something.
You get something.
They pushed so many of the release games to next year.
They did.
So the question is, why spend all the money when there might not be anything new and exciting that you couldn't just play on your other one?
The one thing I will throw out here that I think makes this kind of a potential killer deal is they are offering a thing that if you sign up for 24 months, it's no interest, like no whatever. But for the smaller Xbox, it's $25 a month. For the larger Xbox, it's $35 a month. But at the end of 2 years, you will own your console, and that payment each month covers Xbox Live Gold, Xbox Ultimate, and the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass. And it also is the price of the console.
That's actually not bad, because sometimes when you read those, you find out you're overbuying the item. It's not far off.
They also announced yesterday that EA Access will be a part of Xbox Ultimate Game Pass. And that suddenly turns it into a, wait, what? Like, the amount of games that you will have access to is absurd. Like, just absurd. And, again...
So you weren't really interested, but are you more now with that? Or
I don't think so.
At least that makes it better if you are.
I'll just tell you that they've turned that into, I hate to say this because it sounds so cheesy, but probably the best deal in video games right there. Especially if you bought the smaller one at $25 a month to have access to all of that. It's pretty impressive. Now, a lot of people expected the PlayStation to launch yesterday or them to come out because apparently yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the launch of the PlayStation 1.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well,
that would have been a good day, wouldn't it?
Not a word.
Oh.
Not a peep.
We'll see when it happens.
So the speculation, for what it's worth, is that a lot of people feel like Sony was going to come out with a $600 PlayStation. And that Microsoft has intensely undercut them.
Yeah.
And so they were not prepared.
Yeah, I guess I thought I
don't know if that's true or not.
I thought the Xbox pricing would be a little bit more, but it's still expensive no matter.
Right. $500 is a lot, though, to be clear.
But not as bad as I thought.
That's a third of an iPhone.
That's true.
A Rotten Tomatoes score so high, they refuse to make it public. The Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, it is... I don't want to say this. Like, there are parts of the Frozen lore that really need to be filled in for me. There are things that when I watch Frozen...
Oh, the movie. Okay.
I'm like, man, there is such a deep well of content to pull from here. Questions unanswered.
From the first and second one?
Like, what? Like, when Olaf was created, what did he do? What was he thinking?
Okay.
Did he question his existence? Did he just get out there and explore? What were his first few moments of life really like? I mean, obviously, these are the things that I thought as soon as I left the theater, immediately on the opening night of Frozen after my 5th showing.
So what's bringing these back now, though, many years later?
Well, I'm just so grateful because it's not just me. Other people were thinking the same thoughts. And it turns out that Disney is going to help us because starting on Disney Plus, October 23rd, Once Upon a Snowman.
Oh, is it a look at Olaf?
The origin story of Olaf, where he started, what his beginnings were like.
See, we're not going to get a lot of as much newer content, guys, in the next several months. So they're just going to use what they have. So an origin story sounds about right.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Now, people keep talking about it as the new movie coming to Disney Plus, and I just want to make sure that there's a word. It's an important word that I want us to get out there. If you look, it says it's an original short.
That means it's not a movie. It's a short. It can be a couple minutes long.
My guess would be 7 to 10.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
My guess would be that Once Upon a Snowman was probably supposed to show in front of whatever Disney movie was going to be coming out this fall.
You're right.
And because it's not, and they're like, hey, do we have anything that isn't Black Widow?
Go ahead and put it out there.
Let's go ahead and put this on Disney Plus.
Good call on that. It sounds right.
Yeah. So there you have it, Nikki. Once Upon a Snowman, the origins of Olaf.
It's not a new movie. It's a short.
Don't tell me we don't have anything to look forward to in the next few months.
So when was it? There was one Frozen short that was in movie theaters before some movie, and everybody got mad. Do you remember that? Because it was so long.
No.
Before a movie, and people were like, hey, can't we just watch the movie we came in to watch? I'll have to look that up. If anybody remembers, there was something that people were mad about.
I remember.
And I thought it was a Frozen one, but maybe not.
I remember a something, whatever.
Well, thank you for, thanks for adding to that.
You know, I'll tell you what. Look, let's see. Frozen
short. People were mad about. Was it Incredibles or something?
Olaf's Frozen Adventure?
There's a couple of them, I know.
Really?
Well, yeah. That's why I have to put mad at before movie. It was some movie that people were like, can we not have these really long things?
Mad.
And I thought it was a Frozen one, but maybe I'm wrong.
Pixar's Coco.
Before Coco?
It played before Coco. Why the Frozen short that played before Pixar's Coco kicked up so much controversy?
I remembered.
You got it.
Yay.
So here's another one. People really hate the Frozen short playing before Pixar's new movie.
It was a thing. It was a thing.
Well, you know why? Because that's Disney Animation playing before a Pixar joint. And people are like, Pixar's good, Disney Animation sucks, I hate you.
It's all the same, but
it's not all the same.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
Nikki, I want to say hello to, wait for it, Steven?
Yeah, good morning, Steven. He was up early.
He was. He texted us a story, and he says, for the Riot, let's see. Hopefully this doesn't mean Obi's favorite Blu-ray shopping day is going away. He's a podcast listener in Wisconsin. It's a story about how Home Depot's basically like, hey, we're not exactly going to do a Black Friday this year.
Which it's not where Obi gets his Blu-ray deals from.
It's
but
not.
People are just starting to notice that, you know, the Thanksgiving stuff has kind of been shut down. Most big retailers said they're not going to do anything. And then on Black Friday, most big places that are actual stores are not going to be doing any in-house sort of sales stuff. It's like curbside or shipped to you.
Right. You know, last year was it's sad that this is just coming from my memory, last year was the first time in the history of Black Friday that online sales were higher.
Oh, than store sales?
Than store sales. People bought more online on Black Friday than they had before.
Well, that'll be the theme for this Black Friday.
Well, sure.
That's the only way you're really going to be able to get stuff.
Though I will say, I kind of wonder, in a year where retailers are not doing as well, because just in general, the economy's in a different place, what does Black Friday look like?
I don't know if it'll ever be the same. Kind of think of it like when you need to go to the grocery store. So many of my friends and like we've all just we just pick it up. We do curbside or we have it shipped to us. And I don't think that's going to switch back to us going into the stores as often.
Right.
So I think it's more of a permanent change for a lot of people. And I think Black Friday will be a permanent change. You'll just not expect sales at stores.
Well, but I'm also wondering in terms of like how will the online sales feel? Will the discounts be as deep?
Yeah, that's a good. Well, is there anything to even discount? It's for some of the stuff.
Yeah. Well, for me, Black Friday for movies, it's going to be much more slim pickings this year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
But Home Depot, they're one of the retailers, I think, that's doing really well with it. So they said they're taking a different approach to, instead of a one-day sale for the day after Thanksgiving,
oh, gosh.
Home Depot has said it's going to offer Black Friday discounts, Obi, for 2 months, beginning early November through December. So it'll be November and December. They want to reinvent Black Friday because they want to reduce stress for consumers who rush to stores just for the deal that day. Instead, they want it to be a longer offering. Which means less better sales, the
sales won't be as good.
They won't be as good.
But the propaganda surrounding them will be stronger than ever.
Correct. And you'll have just a really big window for the not as good sales.
Hey, man, we're knocking off as much as 11%, and we're doing that every Friday in November.
So they're saying it'll be in stores and online. It will use its mobile app to give exclusive early access to some discounts starting in November.
I just want cheap 4K Blu-rays.
I
don't care
know
what
you do. Well,
this
one doesn't affect you. You're never buying your Blu-rays from Home Depot.
No, but I mean, I just hope they're not leading the way.
That's what Steven was worried about, which is why he sent it to you.
Steven, thanks for looking out, man. I appreciate that you guys know what I need come the end of November.
I told him, though, like Amazon's pretty much going to stay just like Amazon normally is, so you'll at least have that.
You're basically listening to a real-time cringe compilation. This is The Riot on RadioU.
Amazon wants to hire you, and the average job they're hiring for pays $150,000 a year. Here's what that means. They're offering a bunch of new jobs. One of them pays $150 million a year.
And the rest
of them pay $10 an hour.
Well, that's the spread, though. I mean, they're not lying.
They're not. So Amazon says they're going to have a virtual career fair. So if you're looking for a job, they say 33,000 new jobs at Amazon, which if you think about our last conversation about Black Friday, you know, the Amazon is a place where a lot of people are turning, especially in the pandemic, to get stuff delivered. It used to be because of laziness, and now it's necessity.
It's kind of both on that. I was looking yesterday at some of the details, and I kind of couldn't tell if you're going there, are you getting a job through that job fair, or it seemed like they were showing you ways to get ready to try to go for some of those jobs. Like if you don't have a job currently and you want help with your resume and stuff, there is going to be help through that job fair.
Okay, so wait a minute.
It was very hard to understand. Like, are you hiring at the job fair, or are you teaching people how to have an opportunity to get a job through various ways?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. According to this, they really are looking to bring aboard 33,000 employees. Now, that's across the world, and that would be for corporate and tech roles. So they're actually saying, like, hey, normally we ramp up some of our hiring during the holidays. This is not connected to that.
Okay,
this
that's different.
Yeah, they actually say that because like they've just grown so much that they're expanding and these roles are opening up.
So at the job fair, though, they'll have interactive workshops, speaker sessions, and one-on-one career coaching sessions.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get help if you're trying to find a job.
So it'd be a little bit of both, that they're going to help you sharpen your resume up online a bit, but then also you will have the opportunity to apply for a job at Amazon if you would be interested in one.
Because I have a few people who are looking to transition for different jobs. And so when I saw that, I was like, wait, what is it? Are they going to help you, or are they going to give you a job?
Wait a second.
Or like, can you apply?
Does anybody else feel like Nikki was like someone, but then it suddenly became
No, it's not me.
Are you sure?
I promise you it's not me.
There was a tone.
But I have two other people who are interested. And so, yeah, I was trying to learn more about it. But It's worth looking if you're trying to find a job.
Hey, a lot of people doing a lot of different things these days. Maybe this is for you. Maybe this is the one.
So the career fair day is going to be, I had it and then I lost it.
The date for it. I also should have it. I also don't.
You know, it's the main detail that we were supposed to
September
be saying.
16th.
There it is. September 16th is when their career fair day will be.
The Riot has now been downloaded. I hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
If you ever sit with a group of people and feel like you don't fit in, I want you to know that I 100% know how you feel. Or let me say it a different way. Perhaps I don't know how you feel, but I know how I feel when I sit down with a group and I don't fit in.
Yeah.
I often find myself in rooms full of people that are, they also have a relationship with Jesus. So, you know, they're like those God people. And I'm just like, oh, I just don't fit in with any of these people at all. They get shy.
Style-wise, or?
No. I just mean they seem to be upbeat, positive, smiley, optimistic. Like they seem to have a shine in their eyes.
Sure.
And I'm just like, I do not fit in with any of this. I'm not like these people. I don't even know why I'm here right now. Here's the thing I want you to know is that there's room for everybody. That's what I want you to know, is that just because you've met some people that know Jesus and maybe they have a bumper sticker or a certain kind of a phone case or like whatever it is, and you're like, oh, I could never be like that. You don't have to be. Do you know God made you as you are? And that means that you may not be like every other person you come in contact with, but don't misunderstand. That doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that God didn't make you. It doesn't mean that Jesus didn't go to a great deal of effort for you. You still matter. And it doesn't matter if you look a certain way, dress a certain way, phone case a certain way. Relax. You're loved as you are. So don't feel like you don't fit in, because that's the other thing, is that there isn't a certain look or a certain anything. When it comes to God's table, when it comes to God's people, everybody fits in. Everybody is welcome. That includes you. If you don't have a relationship with God and you've let these kind of things kind of get in the way, don't. Just right now, just say, you know what, Jesus, I want a relationship with you. I want to be a part of your family. I want in. Come into my life. Fill me with your spirit. I want to know you. And you know what? That's a great place to start.
The Riot with Obadiah and Nikki on RadioU.
So George R.R. Martin is the guy that wrote Game of Thrones, the books. And, of course, he's made all his money because HBO and blah, 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 and whatever.
And he's still
working on the last book.
Okay.
That they say will be end very differently from the TV show.
Okay, but will it ever?
Well,
that's the question.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
Will that book ever actually come out? I don't even know.
Or is it better for the franchise or the series that it just never does?
I read the Game of Thrones books, and I didn't watch the show, so I don't know. At this point, I'll have to say it's been so long, I don't even remember where I left off, and I kind of don't care anymore.
Yeah, too long.
But that just goes to show you I'm a fair weather fan, Nikki. The guy, the author, Martin, is getting ready to build a fantasy castle in his New Mexico backyard. He owns a pretty big house there, and he wants to build a castle back there.
Is the castle going to be his house or just a castle in the backyard?
It's just a place you go, you know?
Okay, like
a place to flop.
A playhouse? A what? What's it going to be?
The Homeowners Association wasn't happy with the plans that were submitted. So
I'm not surprised.
There's some tweaks that were made.
Believe it or not, you can't just, depending on where you're at. Like if you're in a lot of land where there's no one around, no one's there to say no to you. But if you share spaces with other homes,
islands,
a community, they have the say so too on like what works in the backyard.
So he is apparently going to make a thing.
So he is going to build the castle?
A castle.
A castle.
Maybe not the castle. He doesn't like you to use the definite article.
Did they give like a square footage or something? Or
don't have an answer for that, but it got me thinking. If I freed you up, Nikki, if I let you build whatever you wanted, no holds barred,
what would we do?
What would you want to build in your backyard? And imagine, if you will, a much larger backyard than you have now.
I would like a pool.
So just that? Just a pool?
Yeah, well,
like this guy's building a castle and your best is a pool?
Apparently I don't have castle. I'd put a pool house next to the pool. Maybe is that better?
All right. Get yourself a pool boy.
Just a pool house.
Okay.
Just a pool house and a pool.
All right.
And some people do it's been real popular to build an office on your property.
In the pool?
No, not in the pool, but the little modern barns that go in the corner.
Yeah.
A shed.
They look like old roughed up wood.
But they're not. You buy them pre-made and you just put it there and then that's your office for everybody remotely working.
Okay. Would you, I like the idea. I do like the idea of having my own studio at home.
Well, then that way you feel like you're going to work even though you're just going outside.
Yeah, it's like, how's your commute? Well, I'll walk past the pool.
A little icy today. Roads are icy.
And then head on to the home studio.
Yeah. Now, I think I would just like a pool. I don't need a castle.
Okay. Man, I expected you to have a little more than that.
Big pool? You may say that? Kind of a slide.
Okay. I know a guy that has he has an indoor pool.
Indoor pool?
It's basically, how if you go to imagine a large hotel pool.
Yeah.
That's his house. He has a big indoor pool that.
think that wouldn't be bad. I see some people put like a bubble over their pool so you can still use it all year.
Well, there you go.
But
now, would you? Well, Nick, you probably need an indoor and an outdoor pool.
No, call me simple. I think I'll just take an outdoor pool like a normal one.
It doesn't seem right to me. I think that right now you're being held back by your ideas of
money and all that. Yeah.
George R.R. Martin doesn't have those concerns.
How about a castle pool? It's the moat around it, and I can swim around it. And the pool house is in the middle.
And that's where your office is.
Yeah. See, there we go. That's
perfect.
Extravagant.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. I'll take an office castle on my property. I need the property first and then the moat around it because we're going to need some space.
Aren't you glad that we didn't just go ahead and sign the paperwork right away?
On just the pool?
Aren't you glad we talked about it first?
Now, are any ideas on your extravagant backyard?
No. I got nothing. Probably a go-kart
Ooh, a go-kart track? That's a good idea,
I think that would be awesome.
With a lot of extra go-karts for friends.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
So I asked what kind of thing would you put in your backyard, and some of you guys had some answers.
Well, the Game of Thrones guy is petitioning to build a castle in his backyard.
Yes. Now, Nikki, Zach wants to sound off and say that he's not writing anything. He thinks that Martin has given up on finishing.
But I know that's what I was saying. Maybe there's more money in him not actually doing it, like stringing everybody along, than finishing it when then people would be done with it.
It's too late to get into it. Don't read it. Just
it's too late. Why bother?
It's too late. I want to say hey to Mitch. Mitch said a pool with a cave with a grotto inside a waterfall with a water bar on one end.
That's bold. Look at all that.
That's
a whole thing.
That's a lot, right?
That's a great idea.
Okay, so we got that. Thanks, Mitch. Let's see. Mike says, good morning. What about a pool with a slide down to another pool?
There we go.
I saw one of those home whatever shows once. You know, you get stuck having to watch them sometimes. And these people had a pool.
Yeah.
And then they had like a waterfall out of their pool that went to a pet pool. So it was a pool that was designed specifically for the dogs.
For the dogs?
Yep.
Well, I didn't know that was an option. I'm adding that to my pool. I don't have a pool, but I was saying if I had castle money like this Game of Thrones author guy, I would have a pool, and now I want a dog pool.
A special pool just for your doggies.
Or have you ever seen one, like they're at hotels, but you can do it at home too, where it's like the faux beach, and then it kind of, you walk into the pool.
Would this be, like, would there be sand involved, or is it just...
No, they kind of just make it look like it. Yeah, it's like a gradual into the pool.
So like a wave pool, but no waves.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that. Luke says, I'd build a personal airstrip and hangar.
Ooh.
That sounds really nice.
You're going to need a lot of land for that.
Well, you know how it is. He's got a lot of money, so...
Yeah, these are all what ifs. This isn't actually happening. This is just, wouldn't it be nice?
It would be. Really would. In the meantime, I'm just thinking about getting an Xbox. So,
well,
think about that, Nikki. It opens up tons of virtual worlds. So who needs the real world?
You can just, have it all in your Xbox world.
Yeah. Well, hey, anytime you hear something on the show and you want to sound off, or you just have some ideas about what belongs in Nikki's fantasy backyard.
Anytime you want to join in, I'm always looking for ideas.
877-2RadioU. Call us or text us.
Or just send me the pin for it, and I'll just add it to my board.
You could totally do that, Nikki.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on RadioU.
I'm looking at aerial photographs of the wildfires that are currently in California, Oregon, and Washington.
It is devastating to see these.
It's crazy. Like the photos just on the ground of like the haze and the smoke and like how, what is this? I think this is San Francisco. It's just orange there. A lot of people are comparing it to, if you saw, was it 2-3 years ago, they did that new Blade Runner movie, Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, does this guy look like that?
There's a scene where he's walking around Las Vegas and it's just orange, and everybody made fun of it for being too artsy-fartsy. And now they're like, oh, It actually
It looks like
that.
it. Aww.
Yeah, it is a wild looking thing. There have been over 3.4 million acres that have burned. And they say that 7 people have died. But it's not one fire. That's the thing that's kind of amazing to me, is that you think of it as being like a one-time thing. There are over 200 separate fires.
That many?
Yes.
But they're just all at the same time?
Yes.
Which is common during some parts of the year. But I've seen most people reference the gender reveal fire.
Right.
And
but that's only one of them.
That's just one of many, but a lot of people seem to just be focusing on that one.
Well, it is the most ridiculous sounding of them all.
Yeah.
And if you didn't catch what that was, a couple had a gender reveal party in which they had a firework that sparked off, and the smoke was the color of the baby, and then it turned out, and we set this fire that's now devastating the whole world. So, yeah.
I saw yesterday too another one, and I mean, you think that it's like, they'll just be able to rescue people, but it was really sad to read the reports because it was so dangerous that they weren't able to get to a certain area to try to rescue more people.
Right.
So they were just like, well, we'll just try in the morning. And, you're like, wait a minute, you can't just stop. But there was no way to, it was just too dangerous to continue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these things are just devastating.
Several podcasts that I listen to, the guys live in the San Francisco area, and they were talking about how, and again, some people may be used to this, but it kind of blew my mind that with the fire going on, there's so much smoke in the air that they have to keep all their windows closed.
Yeah.
But they also don't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
And so it's 100 degrees outside. It's 95 degrees in their house. And they basically just have to sit there. And there's nowhere to go. And there's you can't get away from it. You're just stuck in smoke outside and heat inside.
Aw. Oh. Yeah, there's lots of things you don't think about when it comes to all those.
Dude,
for the people that are living through that.
It is wild. It just would have never, I don't know, would have never occurred to me, some of the things that are happening too. And these are the people that are not directly affected by it. Obviously, some people are in mortal danger. Their houses have burned down. These are just people that are quite a distance away and them dealing with the after effects of it.
But you'll see it trending, the pictures of San Francisco, just because of, again, how it looked. It looked like a movie. It didn't look real. It
really did look unreal.
You're listening to the worst of the riot. Radio U.
Nikki, how has your sorority been dealing with some of the difficulties of COVID-19?
I never joined a sorority. I never did.
I know that's what you say publicly. But,
but privately?
Yeah.
Which one was I in?
Yeah. I mean, how are they doing?
It seems fine. I mean, depends on which school you're at and if you're able to stay there in the house or not.
Well, Nikki, I'll tell you that the University of Nebraska-Lincoln has suspended 6 Greek houses after their parties that allegedly took place over the weekend where they violated community guidelines.
I know it's not fun, but it seems like every time we hear about the increases in schools, it's usually coming after a big party. And I know you're like, but I still want to enjoy the college experience. But that seems to be the part that's causing some issues.
The thing that's hard for me to get, and we'll get back to this in a second, is just, I keep hearing numbers are going up. But if you look, they're in a lot of places, and it depends on where you are, they're down. And our nationwide averages are down.
But if you're at a school, those could be the areas where it is possibly going up. But then I go see people who are obviously not in school anymore. They're still out doing stuff too. So
I don't understand.
Everybody seems to be doing everything.
I don't understand.
I know. It's hard.
So they're suspending these 6 Greek houses, and I'm like, well, what does that even mean to be suspended? It basically means...
Can you stay in the house, or is it shut down?
Yeah, no, you can stay there. It's still whatever it is, but you're not allowed to participate in any university-wide events as an organization.
Which I wouldn't think they would have
university-wide events.
I'm confused. What is the school saying?
So they are going to be reviewing some things, but you know how they got busted? It's all social media.
Oh, sure. People will see pictures of it and then tell.
Yeah, basically, people are paying attention to Instagram, and then they take those Insta photos, they look at them, and they're like, oh, yeah, them and them and them and them and them.
Yeah.
So they are temporarily suspended. They're going to be investigated. But, I mean, let's be honest. If you went to a party and you didn't take a picture, did it even happen?
But they're not suspending the students. It's just the houses being suspended.
Yeah, nothing on individual students right now. It's just the sororities. And
every school is different, because then you go to the other one we talked about, was it yesterday, where they suspended or kicked out the 11
individuals.
Because they were in an area at a hotel that was being used as a dorm, that they showed to not be distancing or following the rules for that area. Because every school is going to have different rules for the people.
Yeah. One of the things that is, and this is true, this is the first time I've seen somebody actually mentioning it in an article, but this is talking about, the testing numbers, is that if you notice the numbers, it always looks like we have a nice decline in the numbers, and then they go back up if you watch the numbers. It's because when you see those declines like dipping and you're like, oh, it seems to regularly dip, that's the weekend. That's where people aren't getting tested as much.
I see.
Yeah. But again, averages overall, it seems to me like they're down. I don't know what's going on.
But if you're going to classes or at school, you just have to know whatever rules they set up, if they actually have them, that they're following through.
Yeah.
You have to know what you can and cannot do.
It seems like some of these universities are really not screwing around. Like, they will shut you down.
It's remember, they want to make an example, and you don't want to be the one they're making an example with.
You don't ever want to be an example. Don't be an example.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously. This is The Riot on Radio U.
So, Nikki, did you watch the Dune trailer yesterday?
I did watch it.
What'd you think?
Well, it was a movie before, right? This is a remake or
this is
a retelling?
It was a book that was written, I believe, in the 60s, a movie they made in the 80s, a miniseries they made in the early 2000s.
Wow.
And now they're making a movie. It's another movie.
So I don't know anything about the story itself.
Sure.
I feel like I need to learn more, because there's a lot to it. It's a very nicely done trailer, though. It looks very good, and it's got a lot of people in it.
Yes. Great cast.
Really good cast. Like, it seems like, at least trailer-wise, I'd be interested in going to see it.
Yeah. I've seen the original movie like a million times.
Yeah.
And I have read the book probably 6 or 7 times, which I realize sounds ridiculous, but there were a couple of years there where I read it like every year. Okay. I have a complicated history with this. I'm very excited about the movie. I think it looks incredible. I cannot get the guy's name right. Denis Villeneuve. He's the director.
Oh, that guy. I thought you meant the actor.
No. No offense to the cast, but it's the director that has caught my eye, because he is the guy that directed Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Which I thought was excellent.
Which wasn't a success, but still everybody thought looked incredible.
It's a powerhouse of a film.
Sure.
Like, very, very good. And so the idea of him doing it is great. The 1980 version was done by David Lynch. And if you're familiar with Lynch has this weird thing about body horror, and that movie's actually there are parts of it that are disgusting and disturbing.
Really?
And they're not in the book.
Yeah.
That's stuff
That's just his take on it.
He as a director added on top of that. So the idea of a new production design and a different look to this classic book is very interesting to me. The only thing that I'll say, and I've always got a negative, don't I?
It wouldn't be the show without it.
Is that I really genuinely loved the book, and I've read it many times, but the last time I read it, and I don't know why it took me this long, maybe it just shows you that I read it when I was younger, but going back to it and reading it again, I was like, oh, this is just about OPEC and oil in the Middle East. All it is a big allegory. That's all this is.
Oh, it's just trying to teach you something about big oil?
Maybe not teach you something, but I remember thinking it was like, oh, this is so crazy and all this stuff, but it's really about like colonialism, oil, and when you take the oil and replace it with the spice, you're just like, oh, it's just oil.
That's just all it is.
CHOAM is OPEC.
Yeah, but at least it looks good now. This trailer looks visually, it looks stunning.
It looks fantastic, and I mean, it is a very imaginative book. Like it does have some real world connections, but there's lots of things in it that are different. But yeah, I'm with you. I thought the trailer looked fantastic.
So what year will Dune be coming out? Is it next year or is it the year after?
2028.
It's not this year, so I just wasn't sure when it's actually coming out.
And I think it's already set that they're doing 2 of them. I think it's 2 movies.
Did they film them already? Or
I don't know.
Or is Dune coming out this year? December 18th this year.
Well, okay. I'm sure it's coming.
That's a maybe.
When Nikki and I said, when is it coming out, it wasn't because they hadn't announced a date.
It's just because they're going to probably push it to totally into next year or the year after.
I don't think we have a chance of seeing that movie this year.
You don't think so?
I don't. I think that they'll push it into next year. And you'll notice this trailer that they finally released and people have been kind of clamoring for it. There was no date on it. Mm-hmm. They didn't put December 18th on it there. They just put only in theaters.
Well,
AKA, you're not going to get it video on demand.
You're not going to get it that way.
You can't have it.
For now, December 18th, but we'll see what actually happens to it. So the Dune trailer was trending yesterday.
Yeah. And I mean, say what you will about it. And obviously, I have hours inside me that we could talk about this. So, like, if you want to stop playing music and for the rest of the show, we just want to break it down.
If someone wants to text their questions, they're more than welcome to, but it's fine. We don't have any other questions about it.
But it's out there, and it looks cool.
We'll let you do your own podcast on that.
Worst of the riot. Radio U.
Man, it is getting real in Indonesia, okay? Like, they did not come to play today. So in Indonesia, just like in the United States and other places, they are dealing with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And this may shock you, but people don't want to wear masks there.
Really? The no mask thing's everywhere.
They feel like that's a real, inconvenience, blah, 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 whatever. And so officials in Indonesia were like, you know what? That's fine. We're just going to have a little display to help people understand a little bit better.
Sure.
And so they went ahead and they bought a bunch of coffins, and they have people dressed in hazmat suits carrying the coffins on their shoulders and parading them through the streets as a reminder, you could end up dead.
Oh, they're doing that? Oh, it's a bit, especially if you weren't in on it. Like you didn't know that it was just a display they were doing, that it wasn't real.
They say you can be healthy or you can be inside a coffin. It's your choice.
Well, that's...
Holy freaking crap.
Do you think people would be all right if they did that here? I don't think so.
I don't think that's
probably not, but they're doing that there.
I don't think that's but I mean, Nikki, it'll really make a point.
Yeah, maybe it'd be like a statement art installation sort of piece, but if they're walking around doing that, I don't know here.
Well, I will tell you, my plan is, as of right now, is I am going to be rioting inside of Best Buy on November 10th and maybe doing some looting and stuff. And that's how I'm going to make my point about the coronavirus.
Is that how you're going to get your graphics card? Is that it?
No, it's how I'm going to communicate my unrest about the state of how the United States is handling the COVID pandemic.
No, that's not by stealing things.
It's, you know what, Nikki? The message is that we are putting consumerism above the lives of people.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's what they're saying.
I'm going to communicate that super clearly in a way that I think is way less disturbing than coffin parades.
If that's what they're doing.
Jeez.
That was in Indonesia, you said?
Indonesia, in Jakarta. Jakarta's an awesome name for a city.
Adam texted and said that's brutal. They're doing that, yeah.
It is brutal. Like, they are not screwing around. So, yeah, there you go. So I guess what I'm saying is, as annoying as the little signs are when you go into the store, it could be so much worse.
Other countries are doing more than that.
The Riot is well-versed on many different topics.
They're shy at first, but they're quite skilled at conversation.
This is The Riot on Radio U.
So the Toy Hall of Fame, they've announced their nominees, and I asked you guys who you would nominate, and it's going to take us a few hours to get through your list. But I love this.
Some of the main ones, though, includes a lot of something called a Stretch Armstrong, which came out, it re-released a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it looks like it came out in 1976 and then has been...
Maybe always around, but then reissued not too long ago.
That was never my thing. Somebody else here, we got a whistling Nerf football. Okay. Cabbage Patch doll. Okay. Josh says the Sega Dreamcast or the Street Sharks line of action figures.
He was very happy with that one.
Okay. Do you remember... it was like a year ago or something. We spent all this time. Maybe that was when Hudson was in one time and somebody said something about Street Sharks and I started reading about Street Sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
I think that's what he was in.
Hands down, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, action figures and vehicles, says someone. Ryan says Super Nintendo. Carl says Legos as a category. He says he still buys them and puts them together. Wendy says Light Bright.
There you go.
Okay. And Josh says Nintendo should be in there somewhere. Jeff says, I'm older than all of you guys, so my toy would be a ball.
He's teasing.
Okay. All
but
right.
a ball's still fine. I mean, good for the sports.
Katie says a desktop trebuchet that can throw marshmallows.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Okay. All
I gotta
right.
look all that up.
So, Nikki, what about you? Did you have a nominee for the...
See, I don't know what counts for the toy category. So for me, like I said, I grew up with stuffed animals were everything.
Okay.
So I didn't know if the teddy bear counts as a toy. But if not, I would pick that as a category or my DS. I mean, I loved that thing.
What about the Easy Bake Oven?
I didn't have that until later. Someone bought it for me just as a retro toy.
Yeah.
But I never had it growing up.
I know, but once you got it, did you think, oh my gosh, this could have been what set me on a totally different path?
Probably not. It could have been a baker.
Yeah.
No.
If only your parents had bought you that, then you would have, right now, you would probably be
history.
in Paris running a small but incredibly lucrative bakery.
I never thought about that. But no, I'd probably pick with the DS. I'd stay with that.
Let's see. My favorite toy... I was going to say a Sega Genesis. I love that. And you can just hear people that's so sad. There's no imaginative play. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
It's fine.
Well, what's on the nomination list?
Well, Nikki, I'll tell you what. If you'll hang with me,
One more?
I will give you this
I
list.
must know now.
I will give you this list.
Okay.
And so I will tell you some of the things that people picked are on the list.
Oh, they are?
Mm-hmm.
And where is the Toy Hall of Fame? Am I feeling like Jersey or something? Or
I think it's in upstate New York. Rochester, New York.
Oh, okay.
So I got your list. You'll never go, but it's always fun to talk about.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
So we are looking at the 12 nominees for the Toy Hall of Fame this year. 3 of these 12 will be chosen. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's your list.
So 3 out of the 12.
Baby Nancy, which is a baby doll. Bingo. Breyer Horses.
What is that?
It's a collectible horse produced by Breyer Molding Company. They've made them for the last 70 years, it says.
Because these can go way back, right?
Yes.
These seem like older toys.
Jenga. Light Bright. So the thing that Wendy chose.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wendy. Masters of the Universe.
Is that He-Man?
He-Man. My Little Pony. Mm-hmm. Risk, the board game. Sidewalk Chalk. Boy, this was a year for Sidewalk Chalk, wasn't it?
I bet. Because even if you weren't young, you were still I have to do something creative and I have to go outside.
Yeah.
So I saw some very artistic driveways from people who were very good with art.
Sorry, the board game. Mm-hmm. And these are the nominees for the 2020 Toy Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Tamagotchi, the digital pet
the
thing,
things.
and Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
So
I guess it's a pretty good list.
Yeah. What sticks out to you on that if you were going to pick one?
Nothing really.
Really?
Nothing that spoke to me.
I feel like I
from
would
my
pick
childhood.
For this year, Sidewalk Chalk seems like the clear choice to me.
But it's not based on
cartoon?
How the year went, right? Wasn't there a movie?
I'm sure there is. It's in development right now.
It is. It's Sidewalk Chalk. It's going to be a very unique movie. Actually, that'd be amazing if they did.
Believe it, sister.
So can people vote on it or?
No, I think they choose it themselves, actually. Okay, a national selection committee casts ballots for the winners. Members of the public who submit nominations all year can weigh in on the final selection through an online player's choice ballot. And you can actually go online and do that now. So it's one of those things where you're not going to necessarily, you're not the sole chooser, but if you vote online, you have a voice in what's going on.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like the real election. You might get counted. It might happen.
Can I do an absentee toy ballot?
Do you guys do that?
Yeah. Can I just write it in and send it in?
I'm concerned about Russian collusion.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on Radio U.
You might not know this, but September is Suicide Prevention Month, and today, September 10th, is World Suicide Prevention Day. And so the month in general and the day specific is a day set aside to talk about mental health and talk about suicide. If you're thinking about committing it, have you attempted it? Have you thought about it? I've had several people in my life who have attempted suicide, who have committed suicide. And I, as someone that struggles with depression, know, boy, sometimes you have some wild thoughts, right? And I'll just throw this out there that one of the things that if you're dealing with depression or even contemplating suicide, here's a piece of truth that you have to get a hold of. Depression messes with your mind in such a way that it seems so true. Like the things that you think when you are in that state seem truer than anything else. And so you think a certain way, and somebody might even come along and say something encouraging like, hey there, champ, you're going to make it. And you want to be like, shut up, you don't know. You really, I've been there. Like you want to lay into somebody because there's something about it that it's just this lie that seems more real than the truth. And I want you to know that the only way that you can push past those hard, intense lies that your brain is telling yourself is that you've got to get an injection of truth. And the only way you're going to do it is reaching out. I know you don't want to. I know that you want to keep it to yourself. I know that there's a stigma attached to it. I know that sometimes people will treat you a little bit differently, but you've got to.
Well, they're saying that, especially during this month, that you're supposed to be reaching out and being more vocal about if you have those thoughts or concerns. And then if you're not, but if you're afraid some of your friends might be, you're supposed to be reaching out and just taking the destigmatizing it away so that you can hopefully reach out and help somebody.
Yes. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine just a while ago who said to me like, hey, he was contemplating suicide, and it was a really important conversation. And the thing is, if he hadn't told me, I would have never known. Never. I would have never even guessed because he always seems so happy, so together, so whatever. So I want you to know if you're struggling with thoughts like that, remember that sometimes the way that people perceive you is not where you really are. And there are people in your life that want to help you, but they don't know that you need help. So sometimes you've got to speak up a little bit. And Nikki's also right. If you've got somebody that you're concerned about, I always say if somebody's on your mind, you know what? Just make the call. Send the text message.
Check in?
Yeah, just check in. It doesn't matter. What I want to say, like, don't worry about whatever. Just like if they've popped on your mind, a lot of times I think like, hey, maybe today's my day that they need to hear from me. So like, just send them a text message. Say, hey, I love you. How you doing? Whatever. But this is, it's a time set aside for this. It matters all year. But if it's on your mind, reach out. Or if someone's on your mind, reach out to them because we need each other. And there's no point in living like these lies are true. You're worth something. Your life is worth something. You're worth living. So reach out.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
Hey, my body hijacked that moment.
I know.